Hi everyone, this is Jan, and I'm going to start a little painting here of flowers in a vase, and I'm going to do it in sections here, so I'm not going to do the whole painting in one video. I'm going to do parts of it, and then that way it'll be easier to load up onto YouTube, and I can do it through a series of 2 or 3 days, and I won't have to do it all in one sitting. Okay, so what I've done is I have a little floral design here that I kind of put together here. I'm on like an 8x10 little canvas here, but I chose to do like a little vase, and then I have some little flowers here, hydrangeas, a few roses, a few other little flowers. I don't know the names of them, but I'm just going to put them in the little vase here. So what I did was I went ahead and put in my background, and I used like I think it's a blue mist color, and that's it right here. It's kind of a gray blue, a blue mist. And then I went ahead and used white with it. I'm going to put that so you can see, because I'm going to do my base yellow. And I just used a sponge to put this on to the canvas here. Makes a nice finish on it. Okay, and that's what I wanted. Then what I decided to do was take out my color wheel here, and I decided that I wanted my hydrangeas, which are right here. I wanted those in a lavender, but I wanted the vase, I wanted a complement of whatever violet was, because violet was going to be standing out. So I went on the color wheel, and you can look and see that violet is right here, and the opposite of violet is yellow. That's your complementary color. So I am going to make this vase a yellow, and it'll complement the violets that I have in here. And I'll be using, for the other flowers, I'm going to be using colors that are next to the violet. I'm going to use some red violet, might use some blue violet, and then I might pull in a little blue, and then we will have our yellow green, our green, and maybe a little blue green as far as the leaves go. So that's how I came to the decision of what colors I was going to use in this. So I have a light yellow, mixed a little white with that. This was my light yellow. That would be the light color. This is the medium color. It's kind of like a moon yellow. And this is like a yellow ochre for my dark here. And then I have a little area here with just some white with a little bit of the yellow mixed in with it. I think I mixed in a little yellow ochre with it, and I have some floating medium over here. Now the first thing I wanted to do, I went ahead and put my pattern on here. Vases can be hard to draw, especially when you're beginners, because you have to get them the same on, close to the same on each side there. So I went ahead, I've loaded up with the light side. Now I am going to use the left side over here as the light source. My light's coming in from the left over here, so I will be painting light, medium, and then dark into the vase, and I'm just going to chop blend it. Okay, so that's what I'm going to show you. I'm going to move my palette a little way. I have to have this tilted a little bit. So my light side is right here, so we're going to come right along here and do that. And I'm just blocking in color right here. Okay, block that in. Then go ahead and pick up your medium yellow. I've got this moon yellow, and I'm just going to chop blend it right on into my little vase here. Just chop blend it. I mean, just kind of blend it, mix it into your other yellow. I'm going to pick up yellow ochre for the dark side. And I'm going to run an edge right along here. Okay. Don't worry about the top. We're going to put leaves and stuff over that. Okay. And then just chop blend some of this yellow ochre in. It's going to be a little darker up here where these leaves are going to come in. So I'm going to actually bring this yellow ochre over this way. Okay. So we've chop blend that in. Now I'm going to wet my brush on a paper towel. I'm going to pick up a little bit of lighter yellow over here on the light side, and I am going to see if I can kind of go over that line a little bit. I used a pencil here, and sometimes those pencils, they will smear with you. So white is opaque, and if I do this, then it should cover up that line pretty good. So I'm using the white color. Oops. Okay, try to get that as straight as you can. There we go. Right on, roll it right on here. Maybe that light's coming this way a little bit. Okay, and as your highlight, before you blend, I'm just going to pick up a little bit of this white and yellow that I have mixed up right here, and I'm just going to run maybe a line or so right here, and then I'm going to chop blend some of that in, feather the edges right here. Okay, feather the edge here, and put a little highlight on there. You don't need much, just a little bit. It's going to be covered up anyway. And you can even these out a little bit later, but you might have them covered up. So you really don't need to do a lot of blending and stuff on this. Now you can also, if you want to create a little lip right here that comes around, you can do that like that. And if you wanted to put another little design on it, you could actually put a little lip right here just by using your brush. Just pull it, make a little decorative edge right here. Okay. Alright, now I'm not going to do very much more with that. Let me turn it up this way a little bit. Okay, and I'm going to cross blend this highlight here this way too. Cross blend it. Okay, now as I'm looking in the deal now, wipe your brush off. If you want to add a little more color here or there, a little stronger, you can go back and just pick up a little bit of color, a little bit stronger if you feel you've lost a lot of your color here. Okay, like this. You can almost go back over it again. Okay, now I'm gonna pick up a little water here, and I'm gonna go right like that. Okay, that's set up, so I'll have to wait and redo that a little bit later. Okay, now the light color, I didn't get a whole lot of this color. That's a pretty color on here. There we go. So I'd like to have a little more of this color on. Then that way the highlights would show up a little bit more. Leaves are going to be on that one. Okay, now when I bring in my white, see how much it will show up now. Yeah, I like that a lot better. Okay. Not too much highlight over here because that's going to be in the shadow side. Alright, that's all you need on this. Some going that way and some coming down this way, and a little bit over here. I'm going to glaze that a little bit with yellow just to tone it down on this side over here. Alright everyone, got my yellow vase in, and I will take care of these lines whenever I start to finish the other painting. Okay, see how easy it is to do a little vase? You just need 3 colors, a light, a medium, and a dark color. Doesn't matter whatever colors you're doing. Just make sure you have light, medium, and dark. And then light, medium, dark. Fuse them together, just cross blend them, put a little highlight on them, and that's all you need to do. Okay, thank you for watching. So I went ahead and worked with this a little bit more, and what I decided to do was put a little trim right here in the center, put a little lip here at the top, and put a little lip here on the bottom. And I just used a light white and yellow for the top part, and then I floated on a little bit of a dark underneath. Okay, and the same thing here, I floated a little white right here on the top, and I also floated on some burnt umber. You load burnt umber on your brush and then some floating medium and blend it back and forth. You lay your brush flat and you just pull right along here, and you pull lightly. You don't push down a whole lot because it'll take your paint off. I mean, you'll be removing more of the paint you're trying to put in than what it leaves behind. I also took a little bit of that blue mist and floated a little bit of it there and right on the top here, and then on the side here. Okay, and blue mist is a deco art color. It's this right here. It's an Americana color, and it's called blue mist. It's kind of a blue-gray. Excuse me. And if you have some of that seafoam green, you can use that also, as long as it's kind of a blue-gray color. Okay, and then I kind of wiggled some lines that were a little bit lighter where the highlights are here. I went back and I re-edged this a little bit. And pots aren't perfect, you know, if you get these clay pots and stuff, they're not perfect on what they look like. And once you get your painting on, people will notice the color of the pot, but they're not going to notice if you got things a little wacky on the sides here or whatever. They're going to notice the pretty flowers that you have in your painting there. Okay, so there's your vase. We have that done. So we have the background done, and I'm sure as I do the painting here I might add a few little petals that have dropped and different things in there. So I just take it one element at a time and see how it's going, and then I just add from there. And that's how I pretty much do a little painting here, and it's nice and relaxing. I'm not stressed where I think I have to finish this in a couple hours or an hour to get it done. It may take me a week to get this done. I just work on a little part of it each day. Tomorrow or maybe even tonight, if I feel like painting, I may go ahead and do the purple hydrangeas while I'm in here. But I don't sit down for a total of 2 hours and do anything. I just do little areas of the painting that I want to do, and for me that works for me. I don't like to paint real fast. I just like to dabble and doodle and mix and blend my colors and stuff and take my time doing it. I seem to do better doing paintings that way as opposed to sitting down and trying to do one in 30 minutes or an hour. That, to me, that's very stressful to me, so I like to do it this way, where I do it in sections. Now, the next thing that I did on this little painting was create some shadow leaves in the back here. You can see this color here, and that is the color, the blue mist that I used earlier. This is the Americana Deco Art Blue Mist, and I used this color. It's kind of a blue-gray color, and I use that a lot of times whenever I'm doing the foliage that's way in the back there. It sort of makes your paintings, I do this in most of my floral paintings. It's just something that I do and I like. It adds more depth to your paintings. I use several colors. This one here, you can see some shadow leaves back in there. Sometimes I'll use light green. You can see them flowing down here, that sort of thing. It just depends on what I'm doing as to what I'm going to use in the backdrop there. I usually use sometimes colors that are in the background, and I like to use dusty grays and blue grays and sometimes dusty greens, seafoams and stuff like that. But anyway, how I do that is I will load up my filbert brush on both sides, and what I will do is I will flip-flop my brush around. You can see I'm rolling my brush with my fingers. I'll make a stroke and roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it, roll it. Sometimes I will even get my brush in a chisel, and I will do a chisel up with maybe a few little stems, and I will walk my brush down. And what I use with the paint is some floating medium, and then I want the paint to be really transparent when it's on my palette. I don't want to go into paint that is real solid color. I want to pull the paint out from the pile, mix floating medium with it so it's very transparent. And if it's transparent, then that's what it's going to do once it gets on your canvas. And I also use a filbert brush. This one is a 4. I use filbert brushes for almost everything because I like a rounded edge on my leaves and foliage. I use it for the leaves here also. But anyway, I put shadow tones. You can see all the way up here. Down here, I even put shadow tones behind these leaves here so that it would be a shadow onto the pot right there. Okay, and I've got them all under here also. But anyway, that's how I do that. I just flip-flop and move my brush around. Small strokes. You don't want big strokes unless you're doing like a vine or something like that. That's how I get that in there. Then I came back and I went ahead and flip-flopped in some of the greens here. In the center here, I just flip-flopped, watch my hand over here, I'm flip-flopping off of that edge like that. So I have color in my brush and I'm just flip-flopping it back and forth. And when you do it fast like that, you get intermingled colors. And then I'll pick up another color and flip-flop some of that on while it's still wet. That's how I get all the different colors in there. I want to keep this green because the flowers are going to be painted on top of that. You need it dark back here. Okay, and I put the dark before I put these little stems on right here. I am going to show you how I do these big leaves though. I have one, I left one right here. This is just a filbert brush leaf, and I am going to show you how I did that one. Anyway, let's go ahead and get to this leaf here. I'm going to turn it so that it's going to be facing me. I have a small space here, so I have to get everything situated. So I'm going to be doing the leaf right here. So I'm going to load up with some sap green on one side and a light green on the other side. Okay, got it loaded. And then I'm just going to go back and forth on a plate here. And I'm just going to do a rough load here. Then I have floating medium right here. I'm just going to go into some of that so that it flows really nice. Okay, I'm going to set that aside. And I am going to start right here at the tip. And I want the light color on the outside because it's going over this leaf right here. And I'm just on a chisel. As I come down, I'm going to flatten down, go to a point, and then I'm going to go to the other side. I'm going to touch right up here, the light side, come down, and go to a point there. And what that does, it'll put a little vein for you right there automatically. Now I'm going to go over this again because it's pretty thick there. There we go. Like a lot of ridges, they take a long time to dry. I want a little more light green to show up here. So I'm just going to go back over that. There we go. Like that. Okay. So that's how I did all of these longer leaves here. And even though they're dry, you can still go back over those leaves if you want to change them and add other colors. Now when I was doing these leaves right here, I dropped down to a smaller brush. You can use a smaller filbert, or you can go ahead and use, I think I was using like a number 8. But I like using the filbert for these two, simply because of the roundness on the end. I like the roundness on the leaves. Some people, they like a flat edge on there, but I like a rounded edge. See? So that's why I use the filbert brush. And I use it an awful lot because of that, for that reason. Okay, so you just go ahead and touch and pull. And these are so small, this brush is a little bit too big for that. Okay, so that's how I did those. Let me set this down so that you can see it. Doing this, then of course I would just be doing the flip-flops. And I've got more than one color on here so you can see how. If I turn it on the light side, then I get lighter colors. If I turn it on the other side, I get darker tones. So lay your darks down, then you can flip-flop some of the yellow-green on. See, like this. Flip-flop. Watch my fingers. I'm going like this. Flip-flop, flip-flop, flip. And that's exactly how we're going to do our hydrangeas that we do next. It's just a flip-flop stroke. It's a lot of fun to do. Takes a little bit to get used to it, but if you roll your fingers like this, roll, 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 roll when you come back, roll as you go, roll as you swipe, roll, swipe, roll. Then you'll get it. It feels weird at first, but then after you get used to that stroke, then it's easy to do. Okay, that's how I do all this little filler in here. Swipe and roll. There you go. Okay, so get that much done on this, and when we come back, we are going to do a hydrangea. I have one down here, and I have one up here, and we're going to be using the violet colors for that little hydrangea. Alright, I'll see you in a few. Let's go ahead and do our hydrangeas. And I have some purples and some lavenders here. Here's dark, medium, and light. And then I have some blues I can go into. So again, I'm going to use my number 4 filbert brush, and you can see that has the rounded top to it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and lay in our dark color, which is going to be like a dioxine color here. So I'm doing this same stroke here that I was doing on all of this. Okay, I'm going to pick up a little floating medium with that. So I want the dark down here. And I'm going to redo this leaf. I can come over and redo part of that leaf right there. So I'm not gonna worry about it. Okay, there's the dark. Let's pull in some medium color. That's a pretty color. And then just flip-flop it around. And let's pull in a light color. Okay, and this one is lighter. We want to round it, so I'm going to pull it in up there. Now, okay, I've intermixed those colors. That's what I want to do. Wipe the brush on a paper towel. I'll go over here. I'm picking up some white. Okay, and I'm just going to intermix a little white in here, especially at the top. Okay, pick up a little more. And I don't want to cover everything. I still want it to... Now what I might do is on the shadow side, just wipe the brush on a paper towel. I think I might pick up a little blue here. Have a little blue tone coming out. This little blue tone here. There's a little blue. Okay, I'm going to let that dry. Alright, make sure you have a dome shape. Let me hit it with a little bit more white on there. Right up here. There we go. So it looks more like a dome shape. Okay, and that's how quick it is to do your little hydrangea. Now let's go back. I'm going to wipe the brush on a paper towel. Let's go back to the dark. This one up here, real dark down here. Watch my fingers. Just going back and forth. Back and forth like this. Here's your darks. Okay, wipe your brush. Pick up your medium tones. Here's my medium tones. Work it into the dark right there. Like that. Okay, now you want your light tones. Here, now I gotta mix more white with the lighter tone here. This one right here. I want even a lighter tone. There we go. Watch my fingers. Rotate, 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 rotate. Okay? Flip, flop, flip, flop. Let the brush hit where it wants to hit. Okay? That's what makes it nice and fluffy. Alright, now I'm going to pick up just straight white. Okay, then flip flop some little straight white highlights. Okay, here we go. Little flip flops. Looks like little petals there. Okay, mostly on the top. Your lightest color is going to be on the top. It's coming from left over there. Okay, so here's the top on this one. Alright, let's pick up a little bit of this blue here. And let's flip-flop a little blue down here on the shadow side. Cool color on the shadow side. Pick up a little bit more. See, I'm just picking up little dabs. Okay, yeah. There you go. Now I see kind of a line starting here. Like that, so I'm going to break this up a little bit. I don't want a line showing right there. It's easy to do if you don't intermix your colors. You can get a line that goes across there, and I'm going to break that up right now. Okay? It's easy to do when you... So just make sure you don't have a dip, a line that goes right there. And I'm looking in the monitor. I don't see a line. Okay, I'm just dipping little bits of color. Now it's going to be lighter. Let me get a little bit of light right over here. That's going to be lighter. And this one. See, it dries darker when it dries, so you might have to come back over and hit it with a few lighter colors after it's dry. Okay, everybody, there's that one, there's that one. Now we have two roses right here. And then we have a couple of other small flowers, and then we have a little filbert flower I'm going to put down here. Okay, let's go ahead and get our hydrangeas done. And then we'll come back and we will go ahead and do our cute little roses. Or we might do those. Those are behind that one rose right there. So, might do that one, or we could go ahead and do this one over here. I'll have to check which, if I'm going to put them on the front or am I going to put them on the back. Okay. Have fun with this. See you in a little bit. Now we're going to do the little pink flowers here. I've got two of them, so I did one. And this is just a little heart shape. And I have a number 10 flat here. And I have magenta and white double loaded on this brush. And I have the white to the outside. So whenever I do this little stroke here, what I do is go ahead and put a little V here so that it helps me on lining up my stroke for the petal. And it's just a little heart shape there. And then I want to go over this far on the next one. And then I go ahead and just do a little dip in the center there. I'm going to reload here. Okay. And then we're going to turn it again. And I'm going to go over this far. Okay. So then I would go ahead and start here. Do a little dip, like a little heart shape. Okay, I'm going to roll this right on around. Alright, and then I will go ahead and go this far. Okay. I'll go here. Do a little dip. Come up, come down. Okay. I made this one, I wanted this lighter because it's going to come over the top of the one underneath it, okay? And this is a sweet little flower to do when you need a little flower that you don't want to spend a lot of time doing one. You you can just do this flower here. Now I just wipe my brush on a paper towel, and I'm just going to use the back corner here, and I'm just going to dot in some moon yellow. See, I just loaded a little bit here, and I'm going to dot in some moon yellow like that. Okay, I'm putting it on pretty thick here. And then I think what I will do is pick up my stylus, or if you have one of those kiss tools like this right here. Okay, just I'm going to pick up a dark purple. And I am just going to, let's go this direction so you can see. I'm just going to put dots at random here in the center, outside edge there. I can do probably 1, 2, 3, 4, maybe 5 before I have to reload. 3, 4, 5. Okay. Now let's go in and do this side. Okay. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, like that. Go right on around, just like that. I have more on this one than this one, so let's go back up here and put a few little ones here. You can smash them a little bit, and you can get a few more out. Okay, and there's your little flowers there. That didn't take long to do. Okay, clean your little kiss tool, clean that up, put it in some water. Okay, clean your brush also. And the next flower I will do is this one right here, and I know I can't even hardly see it, so I know it is going to be like a filbert brush stroke on this. So I'm going to come in with a pencil, and I'm going to redo this so I can see it and so you can see it too. Okay, so I'll be right back. Okay, now I've outlined this one right here. You can see the center. This one's in the front, and these little petals are all around the center of this. Almost reminds me of a sunflower or something. And I have yellow ochre and white loaded on my brush here, and I am using, what is this one, a number 4 filbert. Okay, and I am going to have the white on the outside, and I'm going to have the yellow ochre on the inside. Let me turn one more direction here. I'll start over here with this petal, because this one, I want this one to look like it is outside of this leaf right here. So I'm going to just pick up a little more paint. Okay, and I could probably, if I squish it far enough, I could do it in one stroke. Let's see if we can do that. Touch, squish, yeah. Okay, so that's the same stroke that you would use for a leaf. Okay, so I'm going to press, pull up, and then go into a chisel. Okay, let me reload with a little more fresh white. And my light's coming from the left, so my white is on the left side there. Stroke, pull up, stroke, pull up. Now this one, I want this one to be in front of this leaf. Okay, I think I got my brush turned around. I want the white to be over here. There we go. Okay, I want this to be a little wider. I might have to go over this a couple of times to get that white to really pop out on that. But you don't want to press too much, too hard. I don't, because I don't want this flower to really grow with me. Because they tend to do that. Okay, now let's go ahead and take, I'm just going to take a small brush here. Let me see, I had that other one. This one was wet before, yes. And I'm just going to take a little bit of the brown. I have a little burnt umber on my, and let's just say maybe this is just a little sunflower. It sure looks like it, huh? So I think I might treat it like a little sunflower. They have small sunflowers. They grow in our yard quite a bit. Okay, so I have that. Now let me set this aside. And what I want to do is make sure I have white loaded on my brush here. Okay, I've got one stroke I want to put right here. Right here. I want this one to come up like that. Okay? Now I'm going to kind of soften that right there. I don't want it to look like that is in front of this leaf, other than this one. That one can be in front of the leaf. Okay. This one, I want this to be a little more white, a little more opaque. So I'm just going over my stroke a little bit. So I have a little more white on there, on that edge. There. Now on this one over here, let's see, this one right here. Okay, let me turn this. I'm not getting the look I want on this other one, so let me turn it. I want the dark on this side here, so let me turn it, and we'll come up that way. There. Now I'll go ahead and let that sit, and I will use my little kiss tool here. Got it again, and I'm just gonna use the burnt umber, and we are just gonna put some burnt umber seeds on this. When it dries, I'll add a little bit of a highlight on. That'll look really nice. I don't think I can get a highlight. I can try it and see. Let me go into some moon yellow here. Let's see if I can pop on a little bit of highlight. Yeah, I can. Okay, and that way I can kind of finish it out. There. So I have a little moon yellow on there, and a little bit of that burnt umber. Okay, that's all I need on that. And the next flower that we're going to do, we have 2 roses right here. Okay, and when I come back, I'm going to go ahead and get my palette ready. I'm not quite for sure what color I want to do the roses, so I want to think about it for just, you know, probably 5-10 minutes here, and see what color I want for my roses up there. Okay? Alright, I'll see you in just a few. Now for the little roses here, I want to do just a simple little brush stroke rose here. And what I've done is I have used a Juneberry for my base here. Let's see here, I thought I had something on my screen here. I used a Juneberry which is right here, and then I have a little bit of a yellow and a white. And I just brought this over, not mixing it very well, and just kind of rough mixing it. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to create circles that are around like this. And I'm using a filbert brush, and I'm using it on the side, not the flat of the brush. And when I need to, I can pick up some more color. But what I'm doing is I'm working in a circle, and I'm going to come into the center of this rose here. See, the center's right there. I'm working this to where I'm coming right into the center of the rose. Now I don't want to cover up all my dark, so here's the center. Now on this one here, there's the center in that one. Now I'm going to go over to the other one. Let's start doing the same thing over here. Okay, and we're going to start on the outside edge and make a little C stroke right on the edge, or you can come a little bit past it. It's okay. Just little comma strokes. I'm not pushing down very hard. These are really quick little roses. The center's in here, so as I come into the center, I get a little smaller with my strokes, and a little larger on the outside. Okay, and these are just little, I don't know, I call them merry-go-round roses, because that's what you're doing. You're going around and around. So that's what I kind of nicknamed them, as merry-go-round roses. Okay, now we have 3 of them right here in the Juneberry. Okay, and that's about all you want to do on them until you let them dry. And then I would come back and I might want to highlight these a little more with just some white, or this light yellow I have right here. See, kind of like I have a white highlight here. I want a few of them that are like that over here. It doesn't take them long to dry up. Because it's going to dry darker anyway, so it's okay if you get them on there and you, right now you might think that, oh my gosh, that's too bright. It won't be when it dries. It'll be lighter. But you want it to show up, when you do that. And if you get too much on there, you can come back and you can add some dark, Okay, and that's all you do on those little roses, is just go around and around and around. That's all you do. And I added a little bit more of a shadow right under here, and I added some little lines right here for some more greenery. If I want more greenery, I'm just going to pick up a little green here. And still I'm using the filbert brush, so I want to come up here and I want to go ahead and do a little whiter blade of a little leaf here. I can. They don't all have to be real skinny. I like to add these little blade grasses in my paintings. I think they look really nice. They give it a nice flow. to your little paintings. It gives it a little graceful look to it. It's making things flow, nice and graceful look. And yeah, this one's pointing to this corner, and this one's going to go up over this corner, so that you have them going in each corner, so your eye will be drawn. Do some out of the picture too. You know, like some of these are going out of the picture. Don't have to have everything in focus. Exactly in the picture. Now I'm going to set that down. I'll go ahead and do a few of these over here. And once in a while I pick up the yellow. Once in a while I'll pick up the green. Okay, you can put these in. You can go skinny and then fatten it up. Skinny, fat, skinny's usually what I like to do. That's what comes out the best for me. But you do them any way it works good for you. Okay. And we have a few more down here. And I'm using a lot of floating medium so that they're transparent looking. They're not real solid. Okay. I think I have all my stems done. Alright. And if you want to add just a few more little leaves in here, sometimes I'll pop in a few here and there, so it doesn't, you know, look like my flowers are on top of everything. I want it to look like, you know, everything is weaved in and out here and there. Okay, so that doesn't show up, so let's add a little yellow. Let me get a little white on that. Let that. Let's see. There we go. A little turquoise in here somewhere. Let's see. Let me grab my palette here. I have a little bit of teal. Sometimes I like to add a little teal in there. That looks kind of neat to do that. Every once in a while, pop in a little teal. Okay, just to change it up a little bit. So a little teal down here. That'd be pretty. Yeah. Now how about over here? Here, just here and there. Pop a little teal in there once in a while. Okay, just kind of spread it around a little bit. And I might be able to get away with doing a little teal one, let's say right here. There we go. That might show up a little better on the leaves in there. Do a light teal with some white in it. Sometimes they don't show up. That way I don't have so much yellow in it. I have other colors in it too. Okay, let's pop a little teal on that one. because I have a lot of yellow in the vase, so I want to use a little bit of other colors for this. Put a few little stems on some of them so they don't look like they're just floating everywhere. Okay. Just add a few other little stems. There we go. And let's add a little stem up here on this one. Well, okay, now I think that's about finished there. Okay, everyone, let me try to get this in focus here. There we go. Okay, there's your little painting. And like I say, you can change it up. You can use any kind of colors you want. I might have used a different color on this one right here. As soon as all of that's dry, I may come back and choose a different color for that. Maybe I could use a blue or something. I thought the yellow ochre would look good, but I'm not real happy with the yellow ochre, so I might change it to a blue. This pretty sky blue right there. Might change it to that one, okay? Same color that's over here, because it kind of gets lost. I'm looking in the monitor here, and it kind of gets lost in there. So I think I might change that color right there. Not have the yellow ochre, but have a different color with it. Okay, everyone. Thank you so much for joining me for this little painting. If you have any questions, give me a comment. And I will have this little painting up in my eBay store, and I'll have a link to it. If any of you are interested in it, or you want to screenshot it or whatever, so that you can paint your own little painting, that's fine with me. You can paint as many as you want to. I don't have any copyrights on anything that I paint and put on YouTube. So thank you. Have a nice Memorial Day weekend, and until next time, bye for now.